Hello and welcome to Frontline Conversations. We have with us Abhijeet Dipke, founder of Cockroach Janta Party, which has created quite a sensation in the online sphere and is planning its first on ground event in Delhi on the 6th of June. What is Cockroach Janta Party? What does it stand for? Whether we will see it metamorphose from a social media entity into a tangible on ground outfit. We'll discuss all these questions with Abhijeet. Thank you so much, Abhijit, for joining us. To begin
Thank
with,
you.
how does one define Cockroach Janta Party? Is it a campaign, a platform for the youth, a political movement, or can we say it's a political party in the making?
I think the Cockroach Janta Party is the voice of millions of youth of India who have been ignored by the political ecosystem for decades now. The main reason why this Cockroach Janta Party has came into existence is because nobody from the existing political ecosystem were able to even try and understand the needs, aspiration, and hope of this young population. And that is why we have received such a huge response within such short span of time.
Our readers and our audience would be curious to know who is Abhijit Dipke. So, if you could tell us a bit about your own background, your family background, your educational background, where do you come from, and what took
Right.
you to Boston?
So actually, I grew up in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar from Maharashtra, and I grew up in a Dalit family. I'm a Dalit myself. So if you would have asked me, will I be in my childhood, did I ever think that I would be in Boston? No, nowhere, because none of my relatives back then were in that position that we could aspire or dream big. The most that I thought as a child that mostly I will do engineering or maybe do something BSc or something like that and might get a decent job in some company. That's all aspirations. That was the highest benchmark of our aspiration was then. But after doing my schooling in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, I moved to Pune and there I did my mass communication. And because I went to Pune, and that somehow expanded my horizon, and that somehow I came in contact with people who had bigger dreams, and that made me believe if my friends can have bigger dreams, so can I. And that is how I got some kind of confidence, and I was very politically aware even back then because I used to follow political news a lot. And that is when I came across this Aam Aadmi Party thing. They were doing pretty good in education and healthcare. So after my undergraduation, I thought maybe if I get an opportunity to work with them, I could be able to do something in politics. And that is how I ended up working with the Aam Aadmi Party from 2020 to 2023. And after working there for a couple of years, I somewhere felt that I need to dream more bigger now because when I moved to Delhi from Pune, so coming from a small town like Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, going to Pune itself was a big deal. But then after being in Pune, going to Delhi was even a bigger deal. Like I wouldn't have imagined ever that I would be able to even go out of Maharashtra. So I went to Delhi, I worked with the Aam Aadmi Party, and then I came across many people who had studied from abroad. And many of my friends were applying for masters abroad. And that is when I thought maybe I could also. If I know these people and we are doing the same kind of work, so maybe even I might even have the same potential. Because without that, I had no self confidence that I also have the ability to study abroad. And that is when I decided, okay, after working a couple of years, I was like, okay, I need to take another step in my life. I need to do something for myself and need to find more better opportunities. And that is why I moved to Boston. I got into Boston University in 2024, and I just recently completed my graduation from Boston University in public relations.
So, is politics pulling you back to India? Are you like a political creature at heart? And you know, a few months ago, maybe did you have any inkling that you would be leading a campaign of this nature?
Oh, not at all. I mean, in fact, I was applying for jobs a couple of weeks ago, and that's what I was looking forward to, that I might be able to secure a job and I might be able to settle down here and, might be able to earn some good money so I can provide to my family since my dad has also retired. So those were the things I was looking forward to. And yeah, that was pretty much my life, applying for jobs throughout the day and going to the gym in the evening, and then later trying to relax myself by playing PlayStation because looking for jobs was really taking toll of on my mental health. Because it's a very difficult situation given how the situation is in the US right now regarding the H1B visa and everything. But then this whole thing blew out of proportion, which I had no idea that it would. I was just, doing a banter. It was just supposed to be a joke, but somehow people really rallied behind it. And today we have like more than 2 crore followers on Instagram and more than 11 lakh people registered as official members. And after all this thing happened, now I have been getting job opportunities, job offers, and people are offering me jobs and asking me to stay in the US, not go back to India, because why to risk yourself? Why can't you just stay here and have a comfortable life? But I have to tell them now I cannot abandon this movement and I need to go back to India.
So when it began on the 16th of May, I mean, it began as a joke, like you said, political satire. Uh, how do you analyze the virality with which Cockroach Janta Party has grown and the huge number of supporters that it has garnered, at least in the social media sphere as of now? And
I think
most of your supporters are Gen Z.
Yeah, and I think the cockroach word, I mean, the comment of the CJI was just a trigger point, I would say. There is a far bigger reason to it, because one single comment wouldn't have caused this much mobilization. There could have been an outrage, but this is a mobilization. This is a big message. So when I try to talk to these people, I try to have a dialogue with them. I try to understand what they are looking for and why did they join the CJP. So I got to know that most of these people have, totally given up on the current political ecosystem due to the rising unemployment, due to the like various fiasco that is happening in terms of exam, NEET, CBSE, and today even we got the news that even the JEE advanced result data got leaked. So this is not stopping, and many students are being affected by it, and the unemployment rate, which is highest in the last 40 years. So I think these are the underlying, reasons for such huge support for the Cockroach Janta Party, because nobody, even the government or even other political parties, have been really able to, address these concerns for the youth.
So Cockroach Janta Party was like that spark, which
Right.
kind of resulted in this sort of an online outrage. And the context, like you said, NEET, the CBSE, and fiasco, and also the CUET exam fiasco. So all that provided the context for this thing to grow. Uh, why do you think Gen Z has been able to respond, with so much readiness to Cockroach Janta Party? And what does it tell us about the traditional parties? Have they failed to connect with Gen Z, with the young generation? Is there some sort of a disconnect between them?
I think there's a big disconnect. First of all, the first thing would be the way the current traditional political parties communicate. They mostly do press conferences or go on the mainstream media television, which nobody watches in today's time. None of these Gen Z people actually watches TV news channels where all the political parties, all they do is, keep yelling at us, each other, keep just blaming each other, and there is no concrete or substance in their discussion. And since it's all just noise and zero substance, and that is why the Gen Z had stopped following the mainstream politics. And when something like Cockroach Janta Party emerges, which speaks about, being unemployed, being lazy, being called lazy, or being, dismissed for being chronically online, now these people, it's not their fault that they are unemployed. It's not their fault. The way the exams are, there is a fiasco in the exams. They are the victim of it. They are the victim of unemployment. It's the failure of the government and the political ecosystem who have, completely failed to address these concerns of these people.
Is it also a reflection on the leadership of these parties, the present political leadership that we have?
Yeah, totally. I mean, most of the leaders are, I mean, I don't see any young leader in India in today's existing political parties. Most of them are in their 60s, 70s. And how could the Gen Z can relate to them? So I think that is a big gap. We need some young leadership in the India's political ecosystem.
Are we going to see the young generation, Gen Z, play a more important role electorally in the coming elections? Do you think they are going to make a difference?
I think for sure they are going to make a difference because they are really dissatisfied, really disappointed, and they no longer want to be ignored. They no longer want to be taken for granted. And I think they're gonna make their voices heard, and they will definitely create a big difference in, going forward.
Not all of the reaction which the Cockroach Janta Party has got has been favorable. A lot of questions also being asked. Doubts have been expressed. It's being asked who's really behind CJP, who's funding it, uh, who are the forces behind CJP, and what is the real intent behind the CJP campaign. So, how would you answer all these questions?
I think this is really sad that people are making these kind of allegations, because what are we doing? We were just running some social media pages which doesn't require any kind of funding. All we need is Wi-Fi, and with the help of AI, we don't even need designers. We can just create designs on using AI. So I don't know why would we need funding for? So to answer that first thing, and the second thing is that who is backing it? These are 22 million people. How could you define them that they belong to a certain section of any political ecosystem? Okay, I had my past with the AP, which I told you even before you asked me. So I have been very vocal about it. I nowhere trying to hide it. But just because I had a past with any political party, does that dismisses the current situation these people are facing? I mean, more than 1 crore of the students are affected by the exam fiasco. 22 lakh people, students in NEET, 17 lakh students in CBSC, 16 lakh in CUET, and then there is 40 lakh students in SSC GD. So more than 1 crore people are affected, and we have a following of more than 2 crore. So don't you think that these 1 crore, out of those 2 crore, this 1 crore could be those students who are wronged by the system? If this was because of any backing, then you would have seen this following on those particular channels of the specific political party. But why CJP? Because CJP is not associated with any political party. The Gen Z and the younger people see it as a new platform for the youth. And let me be very clear, no political interference will be tolerated from any existing political party in the CJP. The people I am speaking to, they don't want any kind of political affiliation or involvement from anybody. They want to run this movement on their own.
It's really interesting that you should say that, because some people are even saying that because of your past association with the Aam Aadmi Party, that CJP is like a repeat of Aam Aadmi Party. It's like Aam Aadmi Party in disguise.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to say here. We have more than 2 crore people. Why doesn't Aam Aadmi Party have this 2 crore following on social media then? If this is AAP in disguise.
So 6th of June, you're coming back. It must have been like a really difficult decision for you to take.
Yeah, it
Abandon
was a
all
really
your
difficult decision.
other
I mean,
dreams and come
I
back.
didn't actually discuss with my family because I know for sure that they would never support it. And when I announced it publicly, that is when I informed my parents. And once they got to know, they were really disappointed and they were really sad. My mom was almost in tears saying, please don't come back. You know what could be the consequences. You might be jailed, or, something worse can happen. So just please don't come back. Just stay there. You went there for a reason, to have a better life. So why don't you just stick to it? Why do you need to come back? But I had to try and tell her, even though she's still not convinced. But I'm trying my best to tell her that people have found a hope in CJP, and it would be really wrong of me to let that hope fade away. Because if I let this movement die, and if I don't come back to India, I would never be able to face myself, because finally the youth of this country has found a hope. And if I betray them today, they would never expect or trust anybody going forward.
How does it feel to have the spotlight on yourself? Because so far you've worked, I mean, when you were with the Aam Aadmi Party also, you work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So to have the spotlight completely on yourself, to be leading a campaign, are you feeling the burden of expectations?
To be honest, I'm feeling really, really overwhelmed and bit uncomfortable, to be honest, because I was a really private person. If you check my social media, there is not even a single picture of myself on any of my social media platform. I used to just have 200 followers on Instagram before this whole thing, and all those 200 people were the people I met during colleges or my childhood friends. And when this whole thing blew up, people started calling me up. They wanted to interview. Some people wanted to click my pictures. So the news agencies were coming home, and it just made me really awkward. But I hope after 15 days, I'm doing pretty good at coming on camera, because this is not my thing. Even my sister was yelling at me yesterday that Whenever I used to ask you to get a picture clicked with me, you always used to run away. You were so camera shy, and now you're just going on interviews one after the another. So what has gotten into you? So I just told her I have no option now.
So there's a flip side also to this, because you, like you said, you have received threats, your family has
Yeah.
received threats, and also the kind of extreme reaction. I mean, some casteist attacks have
Yeah.
also been, launched at you. So how do you deal with that?
I mean, to be very honest, I did anticipate it because I have been making political comments on my Twitter since a very long time. And whenever I have said anything against the ruling party, I have always been called anti-national or linked with me Pakistan or something like that. So I was used to it, and I did anticipate that I will be under such attack. But what I never expected was that my parents would be dragged into this. I got anonymous texts saying that don't think just because you are in the US we can't harm you. Your family still lives in India. We will get them. One person even recorded his video and sent me that I am reaching to your home by evening and see what I do to your parents. So when it came to my parents, I was a bit concerned and I was a bit worried. And that is when I was like, how should I deal with this? Because I don't want my parents to face the consequences for something I am doing. I want this. Their safety is my topmost priority. So I had to move them to a different location. Now they are not at the house for last 15 days, and they are just want to go back to our home and just want to have a normal life. But I had to request them just to wait for a few more days because I don't want to take any kind of risk in terms of my parents' safety.
You're coming back on the 6th of June,
Yeah.
and so I wanted to ask you, what is going to be like your immediate goal, your immediate plan, your agenda when you come back?
Yeah, so I'll be coming on 6th of June, 8 a.m. morning. I'll be landing at the Delhi airport and I will be joined by Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, who is also going to join the protest. And after that, both of us, along with all the supporters of the CJP, we will be going to the Parliament Street police station, where we will be notifying the police or maybe seeking permission from them to let us allow to hold a peaceful protest because this is our constitutional right, and we are going to be really peaceful, and whatever we are going to do we are going to do within our democratic rights. And I'm pretty sure that since we are following the constitution, I hope the authorities also follow the constitution, and let us young people just let us keep our voice in a democracy, because I think for far too long our voices have been ignored.
So you have not so far sought permission for the
No,
protest.
I'll go there personally and I'll seek permission.
As Cockroach Janta Party, is sort of evolving it from a social media campaign into an on-ground movement. Uh, a question that will be asked of you is, what is your ideology, and who are your icons?
So my ideology is that I'm a very secular person at heart, and I'm making it clear that the ideology of the CJP, because many of these our young people are also very progressive, liberals, and secular. So the ideology of the Cockroach Janta Party would be secular, democratic, socialist, and we will be striving for social justice. And my icons personally, if you want to ask me, I have been a huge fan of Mahatma Gandhi because I think he was the greatest freedom fighter and the greatest leader the world has ever seen. And after that, coming from a Dalit family, Dr. Ambedkar obviously had a huge influence on my life. Even I'm sitting in Boston today, that is because he has given us the right to equality, a life of dignity. Without him, it wouldn't have been possible because my father came from a very poor family. My grandfather was a farmer, and my father had to drop out from school at one point of time because during the 70s there was this drought situation in Maharashtra where they had no food to eat, and because of that my father had to drop out of school. And after 3 years he rejoined the school again and then went on to get diploma. And till date, even after like 3 4 decades, he is the only engineer from that village. And just because my father was able to get the benefits of the reservation, and that is why I'm sitting in the US today. Without Dr. Ambedkar, this wouldn't have been possible. So whatever my existence is, it's because of that great man. And apart from that, I am also a big fan of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. because the very reason is that because I think without him India wouldn't have this been this modern, this progressive. Because if we see many countries who have achieved freedom uh, after their freedom struggle, most of them have turned into autocratic nation where they were led by one single autocrat leader. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru also had that opportunity because India had no election system. Our population was back then was so poor, and they were not even literate back then, so they were not aware even of fundamental rights. They knew nothing about fundamental rights. They didn't know what is election or and what is vote. And in that moment when you had absolute power, this man still chose to make this country a democratic nation. And I think that sets Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru apart from everybody else.
Do you have a feeling that you've started something, really big, maybe a turning point in, our political history, a moment which is similar to the IAC movement of 2011, which resulted in a change, in our political, dynamics. Do you think something similar is happening now?
Yeah, I think it's the reason because when we see that any kind of political party stays in power for far too long, people kind of get fed up of them. I think it's just that. Back then, the people were fed up of the UPA, they were fed up of the inflation, rising corruption, and the BJP has been in power for last 12 years, and now people are finally seeing through all the big lies that were uh, told to the people as promises, but none of those promises has been delivered. So I think people no longer want to get misled or fooled. And I think it's just that is one similarity, because IAC was also because of the UPA was in power for 10 years, it was their second term, and this is BJP's third term. So yeah, that's the pattern here.
6th of June would be like a moment of truth for you. You've received tremendous response online. How confident are you that you're going to receive a good response? There'll be a good turnout of the youngsters and other people on the 6th of June.
Yeah, so whenever I'm checking my phone, I'm receiving hundreds of messages from the people that we are going to come, because my number was already leaked online by the other people to threaten me. Now the counter benefit is that hundreds of people are reaching out to me and telling me that they are going to be there at the Jantar to support us. And whenever I'm opening Instagram, thousands of comments are there. We are just waiting for you. You just land in Delhi, and we are going to be there with you. And the student unions of Delhi, I would really want to thank all the students union who have extended their support to us. They are also going to be there. So I am expecting a large number of people who will be at Jantar Mantar demanding the resignation of the education minister.
What structure have you been able to put in place so far for the CJP? And if I may ask you, who are your compatriots, in this?
Yeah, so I have a backend team of 25 to 30 people, but all of them are really young people, and these are college kids. And because the kind of attacks and threats I'm receiving, these people are like, please don't reveal our identity. We will actively work for you in the back end, and we want CGP to go forward, but it's just that we don't want to come forward. I was like, okay, I understand, because even I don't want to put these kids at risk. Apart from that, yesterday we announced three spokesperson who will be coordinating with the media, and who will be putting our agenda and our points in front of the media. And we are still evolving, we are still reaching out to people, because it has just been 15 days, and we didn't expect that it would be this big of a movement. So we are still trying to trying to reach out to people, and as we go forward we will be allocating more responsibility to more people.
One final question. We're already seeing CJP evolve into, from something online into something on ground.
Hmm.
In the coming months, or in the foreseeable future, can we see CJP turning into a political party and fighting elections?
I think that it would be too early to say anything on that, because, as I said, it has just been 15 days and none of us had planned or intended this. But for now, CGP is a social movement of the youth, led by the youth, which will try to hold the government accountable, and which would try to change the political discourse of the country.
Thank you so much, Abhijit, for joining us. We'll all be keenly watching how 6th of
Thank you.
June unfolds, for
Thank you.
you and for CJP after you land in Delhi. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.